2023 Honda CRV has been redesigned from the ground up, but this is the first hybrid that I have on my channel, so I'm super excited that thanks to Henrik Honda of Bradenton, Florida, I'm able to bring it to you and show you the entire vehicle. We're gonna check it out from the exterior, interior, take it for a spin, the whole 9 yards. But before we do that, if we haven't met yet, my name is Matt. Here at Matt the Carguy, I post 2 car reviews every single week, so if automotive content is something that you enjoy watching, do me a favor, check out the rest of my channel, consider subscribing, it really means the world to me. And if you watch this video and liked it, give me a thumbs up. Well, check this out, guys. This is a third CRV that I have on my channel. It doesn't really differ much from the non-hybrid ones, but let's take a look at the design of this vehicle. So I like this hood. It's nice and flat. It's straight up, creating kind of this boxy feel of it. It does have 2 slight indents on both sides. And then right here, you have the fully LED daytime running lights and the fully LED headlights. Now, you also have this trim piece over here that connects both of those lines. This particular one is this piano black color. By the way, if you like this color right here, they call it urban gray pearl, which looks really good. And then it does have this piano black grille, open, a lot of air can get inside of it, help with the cooling off the engine. Huge Honda logo right in front of here. And then down at the bottom you have this matte black kind of mesh front grille, lower grille, and then the lower bumper is all in this matte black color that continues throughout this vehicle. You have some nice trim pieces over here. They're really non-functional just for the looks, but they look pretty cool. And then you have the air intakes over on the side, air curtains for better aerodynamics. Now, the biggest difference between the hybrid and non-hybrid, of course, it's what's underneath the hood. So let's check this out. Before we take a look at the engine itself, let's take a look at this hood setup over here. So you have hood struts on both sides, which huge thanks to Honda for doing that. I'm not sure why they're not doing it on the brand new Pilot, but the CRV has it. You do have some sound insulation and the engine itself. So you actually have 2 motors, right? So you have this 2.0 liter Atkinson cycle inline 4-cylinder engine, 145 horsepower, 138 pound-feet of torque. And then you have a AC motor, which is 181 horsepower, 247 pound-feet of torque, which combined output on this vehicle, 204 horsepower, 247 pound-feet of torque. It does have a direct drive transmission, but gas mileage, guys, 37 is the combined one. We're gonna get into details on this particular one in just a little bit when we take it for a spin. I like the side profile of this vehicle, and I like what they've done to it. They made it a little bit more boxier, a little bit beefier than the previous generation one, although the previous generation wasn't bad at all. So let's take a look right in front of here. You see that matte black cladding continues around the wheel wells, and at the bottom of the doors continues basically through the entire vehicle. As far as the wheel and tire setup, there's pretty cool looking all piano black aluminum wheels. Now they're 19-inch rims. The 235/55 is the size of the tires that you have on this particular one, and you'll have a lot of like this piano black elements on this vehicle. So you can see the mirrors are piano black, the low profile roof rails are piano black, so you have a lot of that stuff going on. It looks really good, especially with the combination of a color like this urban gray pearl. Now on the mirrors itself, you do have the turn signal, you do have the blind spot assist right inside of here. Smart entry system on the vehicle. You can see I'm locking and unlocking this vehicle because I do have this key on me. I gotta show you, this is a brand new key that Honda just introduced last year. So it's a lot smaller than what we previously had. Not as heavy as the other one, but hey, you know what? It fits in your pocket a little bit better in my opinion. So what else do we have here? We have the chrome trim around the windows, black pillars painted over here, and a lot of window space in here. Now those windows on the Sport Touring model are sound insulated, so that should make it for a nice and quiet ride. Well, here's the back of it. I really like it. I like the way that they redesigned this vehicle. Straight down makes it for more room inside of this vehicle. Now, if you look at this gate spoiler over here, it does have this trim piece that's in this piano black. Built-in third brake light, and right here, here's your LED taillights. Really good looking, really bright. The only non-LED part right here is the turn signal, incandescent turn signal over here, and then you have the reverse lights right over inside of the light. Now, I wish they kind of hide this wiper. They put it underneath here. Maybe for next generation they'll do it. And what you have here, big Honda logo, you do have the backup camera. Sport on one side, Touring, this is the trim that we have, and on the other side you have the CRV hybrid. So scrolling down over here, what's interesting, this is a hybrid vehicle, and most of the hybrid manufacturers are taking away even the fake exhaust tips. No, not Honda. They actually made them exposed fake exhaust tips. Now this is real on one side, it's fake on the other side. Well, I'm not sure. I mean, I like the look of it, but I'm not sure if it's very functional. You do have the reflector lights on both sides, and then bottom portion of this bumper is all matte black with matte gray inserts. Now you can open this gate several different ways. One of the ways is if you have the key on you, well, you wave your foot underneath here and then it opens up. So let's check out how much room we have. Now, as far as the height of it, it's actually pretty high. Well, the gate is open. Let's check this out. Well, plenty of space behind the seats over here. Honda claims over 36 cubic feet of space, cargo space, which is huge for a vehicle in its class. Now, if you needed more, obviously these seats fold down. Let's see if I'm going to be able to do that. All you have to do is kind of unlock them and fold them into place. And there you go. You have one, and here's your second one. Boom. And this is how much space you have with all seats folded down, 60-40 split. What else we have in this cargo compartment? You have illumination on both sides. You have the speaker right over here. Now we have the cargo tray. And then, of course, we have this second floor like most of the vehicles have. Now there's no room and there's no spare tire on these vehicles because that's where the batteries are for your hybrid system. But there's a little bit of storage if you needed to put something inside of here. Well, let's check out the rest of it. If you're looking for roominess, you'll definitely find this in this new generation CRV. If you look at my knees, about 4 inches before I would hit this front seat. Now this front seat is adjusted to my regular driving position. I'm 6 feet tall, plenty of room. I do have plenty of headroom, plenty of shoulder rooms. Overall, this is a very spacious vehicle with a very cool interior. Let's check this out. I'm going to start with the rear door panel over here. I got to tell you, a lot of manufacturers are going with this hard plastic right now. I just think it feels so much better when it's this injection plastic molding that feels softer, feels better. Anyways, well, you do have this nice trim piece over here, this piano black with this three-dimensional look. You do have the door handle, little twitter over here, a speaker. Then you have the window controls, nicely padded with leather armrest. A little bit more storage in the bottom of the doors in here. And let's check out this interior because it looks pretty cool. So leather wrapped seats with this orange looking stitching. Now it looks really, really good. Now they call it the sport trim. That's why you have some sporty accents on this CRV over here. Now the seats are fairly comfortable. You do have the armrest with 2 cup holders right over here. And then the floor is pretty flat, even though this is an all-wheel drive vehicle. Well, you do have the seat back pocket on the passenger seat, but not on the driver one. And then you have your own vents and the USB Type-C ports in here. One more thing left to check before we get on the interior, and that is the sound of the closing door. Boom. Nice, solid. Now this vehicle feels super solid even when driving it. We're going to talk about it just a little bit. The front door panel, just like the rear one, with the addition of memory seats, and then of course you have the mirror window lock controls right over here. Still the padded armrest with more storage underneath here. And then if you look inside, you do have the power Seats on both driver and passenger sides, nicely profiled, not too aggressive, but they will hold you in place. And this is the new interior. Let's check it out. Well, let's check out the interior of this highest trim level for this year's CRV, the Hybrid Sport Touring. I'll tell you, it looks pretty cool, right? So you have this honeycomb trim right over here that's nicely connecting both of the vents inside in the middle here and the ones on the side. Looks very nice. It's wrapped in this piano black trim, and it does have this 3D pattern right down at the bottom here. Now the top of the dashboard as well as the tops of the front doors are injection plastic molding. So you have this soft touch plastic, you have the actually hard touch plastic in the back doors over there, and this is soft touch. I wish they kind of did it for all of them. Why not, right? So let's take a look at the steering wheel, nicely wrapped in leather, good to the touch. You do have this same orange thread as you see on the seats. Bunch of buttons on both sides. Now these shifters right here, I don't think they're shifters. I think this is for regen, but I'm going to check it out while driving this vehicle. So you'll see that you have the media control over here as well as what's going on in the instrument cluster in front of you. Honda logo on the right hand side, you have the cruise control and then the lane keep assist, and that's what's happening on the steering wheel. At the bottom you also have the heated steering wheel button. Now inside of this instrument cluster, let's see what we have. Let's hit the home button. All right, so we have warning power flow. You can set it up and see where the power is coming from. Range and fuel, speed and time, audio, phone, navigation, driver attention, all-wheel drive torque distribution. There you go. This is my favorite screen on my Pilot, actually. And then you can scroll down and see the seat belts, maintenance, safety support, and then back to no content, brightness. Gauge display settings, warnings, and back to power flow. So this is what you have in the instrument cluster. Let's see what the display settings we have. Now we have the menu. Okay, so we can turn on or off what's actually displayed. The features that I just went through, they're all turned on, but you can actually turn some of them off. So that is what you can set up in here. In the middle, you have the big 0 right there, stands for the speed. So you have the speedometer. You also have the speedometer on the right-hand side. And this right here, you have your charge and power. This is for your hybrid system. The vehicle has 347 miles, 70 degrees outside. We're 3/4 full and we're in park. That's the info that you can get from this instrument cluster. So pretty clear, nothing too crazy, but it's very, very usable. So here it is, guys. This is your infotainment system, and I got to tell you, a lot of people complain about it, complain about the size of it, and including myself, and I will continue to do that. Not because there's anything wrong with it, but because the competition has it, the larger screens. This is a 9-inch screen. I wish it was like 10 or 11 or 12-inch screen, which a lot of competitors actually have as a standard equipment, but we'll see what we have here. So this is a couple of the hard buttons over here, home button, back button over here, audio, power button, and the seek and track button. So that's what we have right on the left hand side. So anytime you get lost, you actually hit the home button. It will take you to this exact screen. What we have is the navigation, and right here is standard system that comes in the Sport Touring. Pretty responsive, pretty cool. I like the Honda navigation system. They're using Garmin, I believe, and it's a very good system in my opinion. All apps, display mode, FM, general settings, navigation, phone, power flow. So this is basically what you have on your display. Phone is self-explanatory. I actually connected my phone and I have the Android Auto. And guess what? This is wireless. The phone is not connected through any wires in here, and you have this Android Auto screen. Again, pretty cool colors, nice and bright. Back to Honda display. You have the power flow, which is specific for the hybrid. So you can see we have 233 mile range right now, and we're about, I don't know, just over half full on the tank of gas, so not bad at all. And then at the bottom you have some shortcuts. So you have go navigation, phone, FM, Bluetooth audio, smart shortcuts, so you don't have to actually exit this screen to go to somewhere else, but I want to show you what else we have. So go through the whole thing. Sirius XM, obviously, general settings. We'll see what Honda gives us here. System, smartphone connection, connections, display, sound, camera, voice control. These are going to be camera settings. And then, yeah, it's not going to turn on the camera, but it does have the cross traffic monitor, so we already know it's there. And go back a screen, vehicle settings, and that's where we can control different settings for the driver assist setups, meter setup, driving position setup, keyless access setup. So here's what the key can do. Door unlock mode. You can have it in the driver door only, all doors. Back, keyless access light flash, on or off. So you can customize any of those settings. Keyless access beep, on or off. Remote start system, on or off. Okay, on right now. You can turn it on or off. Lockout protection. This is pretty cool. We're going to turn that on, actually. Yeah, we don't want to get locked out of this vehicle. So a lot of system settings that you can do in here. You can always go back to default. And now if you see that, it defaults to driver 1, and that's because I do have the driver 1 key. Unfortunately, it's in this pouch, so I can't show it to you, but if you look at the key, and on the key, if you flip it over, on the back side, it's going to say driver 1 or driver 2 if the vehicle is equipped with the memory seat positions, and it will adjust the settings to the seats as well as any of the settings that you choose in here to the driver that has the key. Go back to the home screen and then trip computer, USB, AM, system updates, Wi-Fi, hotspot, clock, Honda link, smart shortcuts, display mode. That's pretty much standard that we've seen. One other thing I want to check out in here is the rear view camera. Now we are in this electric mode, so if you can hear this kind of horror movie type of sound, that's because it kind of warns people that this vehicle is backing up. So as far as, again, the size does matter. I wish that this took out the entire screen. Okay, I mean, the quality is decent, but I wish it was bigger. Now over here you have this icon of a vehicle with the sensors front and back, so as long as you approach, they're gonna light up. The rear view camera only have like 3 different angles: top, down, narrow, and wide angles. And this is pretty much what you have here. Put it back in park so we don't roll. And this is your infotainment system. Scrolling down here, you have your climate control settings, and you have the dual zone climate control, different for passenger, different for the driver. Heated seats for the driver and passenger are also standard equipment. No ventilated seats available. I wish that was kind of a thing here in Florida. We don't need heated seats, we need ventilated ones. So you have different settings: auto, different fan speeds. You can sync them, unsync them. Then you have your rear window defroster as well as the mirror defroster down here. Scrolling down, you have the USB Type A, USB Type C, 12-volt power outlet. You can see the passenger airbag is off, nobody's sitting here. And then you have the wireless charging station right over here. Let's put my other phone here. And it does charge. I checked it. Scrolling down right here, you have a nice shifter. So you do have some leather, aluminum, plastic. As far as the gears, you can see something a little bit different. So you have the P, R, N, and D, and B. And what B ranges, Honda says that this feature enhances confidence and convenience when driving downhill or in stop and go settings. And what does it do? Shifting into B range increases the deceleration effect or lifting up on the accelerator, reducing the need to apply brakes. So it's kind of like a 1-foot operation basically. Over here you have the drive mode. So we have the snow, eco, normal, and sport, and there's slight changes on the dashboard. So let's check this out. So sport mode, normal, econ, and snow. A little bit of animation going on. We're going to put it in sport. That's the way I like to test them. And then down below here you have the hill descent assist, parking brake, brake hold, cup holders, a little bit more storage, a lot more storage underneath this armrest. And up here we no longer have the home link system in the mirror. You do have the LED lights and the way you control them. You also have the one-touch operation sunroof. This is not a panoramic sunroof, but it is a smaller sunroof with the tilt and slide feature, and the manual sunshade and sunglasses holder. Both visors have the illuminated mirrors for the driver and passengers. And one thing I didn't mention, that this vehicle does have a Bose stereo system. So it sounds great. Unfortunately, I can't present it to you due to some YouTube copyright issues, but the vehicle looks awesome. Let's see how it drives. Check it out, guys. The vehicle is running. I'm ready to take it for a spin. Before we do that, let's talk about a couple different things. Well, first of all, before we get to the models and pricing, let's talk about some differences between the hybrid and non-hybrid model. Other than, of course, the obvious, the power plant that we have in these vehicles are different. This is a hybrid versus non-hybrid, but the structure integrity, the structure engineering of this vehicle is a little bit different. So the front and the rear subframes are beefier. There's more sound insulation in the cabin. There's more sound insulation in the firewall behind the instrument cluster. There is a different welds into the B-pillar to joint, thicker front side windows, and they're insulated, noise insulated on the Sport Touring, which what I have for you today. That's no wonder when I close these doors, it's like super quiet in this vehicle. It also feels a little bit more rigid when driving it. It's a little bit heavier, but it's also a little bit faster. So let's take it for a spin. By the way, 2 different trim levels are available for this year's CRV hybrid, and that's the Sport and the Sport Touring. The Sport is the base one starting at $32,950, and then the Sport Touring, which is what we have right now, that vehicle starts at $39,100, and that's what I have for you today. There is no added equipment on this vehicle. It's basically stock equipped, and let's check this out. Let's see how it drives. Before we take it on the road, a couple things that I'm going to do here in this parking lot. One thing is to see how this vehicle turns. So we don't have painted parking spots or anything like this, but I'm going to turn the wheel all the way to the left and make a donut right here. It feels super tight. It also feels very quiet. Those windows, the extra noise insulation really makes a difference. Now we're driving in the hybrid mode right now. I put it in sports mode, so the gasoline engine is running. It's not only on the electric vehicle mode. One thing worth mentioning too, that this extra structural differences also adds to the weight of this vehicle. It weighs about 300 pounds more than the non-hybrid vehicle, but on paper it's also about 0.3 seconds or so faster, and this should accelerate 0 to 60 in just under 8 seconds, so about 7.9 seconds. Not as fast as this Lamborghini Urus that just went in front of us, but you know, pretty quick nevertheless. I'm gonna find a piece of road that I can actually demonstrate the 0 to 60. But before we get there, let's talk about the driving dynamics of this vehicle. A positive experience driving this vehicle. I gotta tell you, the visibility is great. The steering wheel feels great to the touch. It's also not too loose, not too tight, just the right combination of it. You know, you do hear a little bit of the engine, very little bit of road noise. It's the insulation really works wonders in here. I gotta see, there is a piece of road in here that I can actually check out the acceleration. So let's stop right over here and let's go 0 to 60. 20, 30, 40, 60. We get it up to 60 miles an hour, and this is not bad. Definitely not going to be a speed demon in here, not going to break any records, but for merging in traffic, it's definitely substantial. But it feels like it's planted on the road. This is a huge difference between this and some of the competitors. This one just feels good when driving it. As far as the gas mileage, 37 is a combined number, 34 on the expressway, 40 in the city. That's what gets you 37 on average. So that is pretty good. Now, it gets a little bit better, slightly better gas mileage on the front wheel drive on the Sport vehicle. I think it's about 1 mile difference, so still pretty decent. Okay. Back in the parking lot, guys, it's time to sum it all up. What do I think about this CRV? I think it's great. Well, I tell you what, I would take the hybrid over non-hybrid any day. Now that I've driven it, it makes a huge difference. That beefier sturdiness, the better noise insulation, it feels like it's better planted on the road. I like the power delivery a little bit better. The gas mileage, there's no question about it. So definitely my favorite CRV. If you don't like all the bells and whistles, you can go for the sport hybrid model. It just adds a little bit to the non-hybrid, like the EX model that you have on the CRV. So not a huge difference between those two. I think it's about $1,500 or so. Definitely check out both of them before making the decision. And if you're anywhere in Florida, check out the guys at Henrik Honda in Bradenton, Florida. Great group of people. They'll help you out with all your automotive needs. One other thing to mention is the price. So at $40,000, just over $40,000 with destination on this particular one, it's definitely lower than the similarly equipped RAV4, and that's its closest competitor. So about the same as a Sportage hybrid on that SX Prestige trim. And if you're looking at the Tucson hybrid, that gives you about the same for the highest trim level. So great vehicle from Honda. I'll give it 2 thumbs up, guys. If you like watching videos like this, don't forget to check out the rest of my channel. And if you like this video, make sure you leave me a like. Thanks. I'll see you in my next video. Cheers.